biggest areas of improvement over the last few games are communication on defense and withstanding runs. Would you agree with that assessment?
Needing to get better? Is that what you're asking?
He said that have been getting better over the past couple games.
Yeah, I think I think our communication on the defensive end, for the most part, has been good. Our struggles at times, have been on the offensive end, and we just have to be a little bit more solid and sharper down the stretch in close games. You find yourself in close games and tournament play a lot, but I certainly do think we're communicating better on the defensive end.
Did you consider Virginia a step forward, and along those lines, are you encouraged, excited about going into the postseason?
Yeah, I mean, this is what you play for. This is what you work for all year. And I've said it before, we can't let some of the losses, some of the tough moments that our teams had, rob us from confidence. We're all in the same boat. It becomes sudden death, if you will, and our team needs to be able to take both the good and the bad and learn from it, and play our best basketball as we head to the ACC tournament.
Are you confident that it's going to happen with this group, or how do you?
Well, I'm not into predictions. Yeah. That's what you work for.
You talked about the spirits being higher after the Virginia game, and Ryan agreed with that. Could you sense when maybe it turned, that you could see it kind of going back in the right direction?
I think we found some confidence in the way we played against Notre Dame, especially in the second half. We had gone 4 games in a row without scoring 60 points, and we obviously broke through in the second half. We scored a boatload of points, and I felt like even in the practices leading up, we were on the right path. But until you sort of do it in the game and feel good about yourself, it's sort of hard to take stock in, hey, we're doing better in practice, at least if you're a player. And so, again, I've never sensed our group breaking apart, not playing for one another. But it was good to see the last couple games. Nobody wants to lose, but we're going against the best team in the country on their floor, and give ourselves a chance to win. Like I said, we have to be a little bit sharper down the stretch.
After the BC game, you said your players were soft and scared. What's changed? 2 weeks.
I don't think that was necessarily who we've been all year. I think when I made those remarks, I was specifically talking about the 40 minutes in Boston, and call it like you see it. But we've had a lot of good moments too.
Because you've watched the ACC from afar, but now being in it for a year, how difficult night in and night out, and especially going into this week where anybody could win this thing?
Yeah, it's a very difficult league. We knew what we signed up for. We have one of the toughest schedules in the entire country, and as I keep trying to stress, can't let some tough games rob you of confidence. We're a good team. We play the right way when we're connected on defense and play with the spirit. And sometimes you don't always feel that, when you come off the floor on the losing side. But this tournament's as good as it gets in college basketball. I think our guys are excited to go down to Charlotte and see what we got.
Some coaches, I think, look at conference tournaments and say that, maybe there are some teams that are already squarely set for where they're going to be in the NCAA tournament, or as far as if they're going to make it, if they're not, and kind of see that as a way to just use that as a final litmus test and make some adjustments. How are you looking at it, or as far as, are you trying to change a lot of stuff this week, or just do what you're doing?
We're always making a few tweaks here and there. How I look at the tournament is an opportunity to win a championship. It's nice to know that the experts feel like we've done enough to worry about the second tournament, that not necessarily being a weight on our shoulders heading in. But this is a great opportunity for our team, and I'm excited to see how we play. And it's one of the best, if not the best, conference tournaments in the country.
How closely do you watch the Georgia Tech Notre Dame game coming up to see if they make some tweaks, or how much of it is it you're just focusing on?
Well, we just played Notre Dame, and when we played Georgia Tech early in the year, they were a much different team. Alvarado wasn't playing. You know, and so we know that, you know, we've got the winner, and, you know, we're going to see a very similar Notre Dame team if they win. And Georgia Tech's going to be a little different. Both teams play a lot of zone, so we'll prepare for that over the next couple of days. And they're different zones, so we're going to have sort of a different attack, if you will, on both of them. But, yeah, we're definitely going to follow it.
What do you consider, for this team, what do you consider a good three-point shooting percentage?
What do I?
For you guys, yeah. I mean, with this team knowing what you have, what's a good three-point shooter?
I don't necessarily get hung up on the percentage. I get hung up on, are we getting good looks? You can't control sometimes the ball goes in. You know, I think through your execution, you can control the type of looks that you get, the passes that you make leading up, and if those are on point, then you give yourselves the best opportunity to make threes. And that's just sort of how I go about looking at it.
For the most part, when your three-point percentage has been down, is it because of bad shots, contested shots, rush shots, or just
a little bit of everything? I don't think you can just categorize, hey, this is why we're missing. Part of it has to do with the opponent that you're playing. But, you know, there's some times where we get open looks, they don't go in. Sometimes we take some tough shots, shot clock situations, and you name it. But, again, I don't think you put all under one category why we miss or make a shot.
Did you happen to go to the Kentucky state title game yesterday?
I did.
What did you think of David Johnson's performance in the game?
I thought David willed his team to win. And, you know, I think I can't imagine the amount of pressure he felt, their team felt. You know, both teams in a championship game like that. But he was clearly the best player on the floor. He shot the ball well. You know, he rebounded for his team. You could just sort of sense that he did not want his team to lose. And he played like it. He stepped up to the challenge. It's fun watching him.
Enoch and Malik both had good games at Virginia. Do you see them really having made some big strides and continuing?
Yeah, we need them to. We need to have an interior presence with those guys, and I thought they both at times give us that. And if we're at our best, it's because we're getting, you know, excellent play both interior and on the perimeter. And Steven and Malik are huge parts to that.
It's pretty amazing the stats or the minutes played in the conference are 19.3 for both of them. Yeah. What do you get out of, what do you see as the advantages of moving those two in and out, and then you foresee in the postseason just going the same route?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we are sort of who we are at this point of the year. You know, I think in time, you know, there could be opportunities where we play two big guys together. But again, sometimes you're hamstrung because both of them are on the floor. They're going to need a blow, and it's sort of hard to do that. But no, I think that Steven, you know, when he's right, he's a load around the basket. He draws fouls. He finishes around the basket. He's as big as anybody in the league, and he's as skilled as anybody in the league. Malik's a little different. You know, he's not as physically gifted as Steve. Defensively, he's a lot further ahead. He makes our team go. He gives great energy when he's scoring the ball, like he did in the beginning of the game at UVA. We're a lot different team.
Do you think it keeps opponents a little bit off balance because they are different types and they're moving?
It can. Again, their effectiveness is, you know, where we'll keep teams off balance if they're not effective.
Do you feel like Malik is learning a good shot and a bad shot? Because the other day he took that three. Before it was even out of his hands, he kind of turned to you and was like, I know, like I know it's a bad shot. I mean, is he getting, do you feel like he's getting that?
We have to keep defining that with our team, especially down the stretch. You know, what may be a good shot in the first half in the flow of the offense might not be with, you know, 3.5 minutes to go in the game clock. And we have to do a better job in tournament play with those situations. And I'm confident we will. We're certainly going to go over it and go over it and go over it here over the next couple of weeks just to, you know, shore up our end of clock situations and end of game situations.
That feeds into what I was going to ask about end game composure. You talked a lot about that on Saturday. How do you drill that? How do you work on that and film and all that stuff?
Well, I think you showed to them on film. You explained what could have happened, should have happened, needs to happen. You go against your scout team in those situations. You 5-on-0 it. You show film of other teams in similar situations. Anything and everything you can as a coach to get those situations right. We're going to find ourselves in those situations a lot, and we've got to be better down the stretch.
How much do you look at the ACC tournament? How much do you look at the overall bracket? It looks to me like to win the championship, you may have to beat top 3 seeds back to back to back.
I know where 3 teams play, and that's no joke. I know Georgia Tech plays Notre Dame, and I know if we were fortunate enough to win, we play Carolina. I don't know any of the rest of the bracket who plays who.
You won't look at that until.
And what's the point? I mean, it really doesn't matter. All the assistants and everybody else will do all the advanced scouting. And I'm not going to worry about Friday or Saturday.
As you approach the postseason, have you sensed, having been here almost a year now, kind of how this team has impacted the Louisville fan base? Because before you got here, it was a pretty rough stretch there for a lot of Louisville fans.
Not really. I mean, not really. You go by my mentions, we're still, I don't sense any difference.
Still look at your mentions?
What's that?
Even with the tournament seemingly in the bag at this point that you're going to be playing in this
I've said from the very beginning, again, despite outside world noise, I always felt like this team would be an NCAA tournament team, or could be. And, you know, nothing that we've done this year has sort of changed my opinion on that.
Anything else for Coach?